I'm looking at National Review Online. I used to be a contributing editor to the magazine under John O'Sullivan, who was a great leader of that magazine. I just see another vicious, cheap shot against Sarah Palin by some guy named Patrick Brennan. I don't have any idea who this guy is. And the headline is, NRO headline, Sarah Palin's barbarism. It's been no secret for a while that Sarah Palin, erstwhile vice presidential candidate, is no longer a serious political contender. For evidence of that transition, note that even among her faithful at CPAC this year, she got just 2% of the vote in the straw poll, tied with Condoleezza Rice. She's not running, Patrick. She already said she's not running. But here's what you don't understand, pal. She's the most sought-after endorsement around, period, in Republican circles. Maybe not in Manhattan, maybe not in Washington, D.C., maybe not in L.A., but in so much of the rest of the country. And she's fighting like hell to save the country. You may not agree with her, you may not agree with how she speaks or what she says, but screw you. You do nothing. You sit there on your ass and you type away at your keyboard, and then you go to your little social circles and you're proud of yourself. You're probably sending the link all over the place. Who have you helped? Who have you supported? What have you done? He says that means her speeches have gone from being standard political pablum to something even more substanceless. More or less a long string of hokey but often amusing jokes. But for all the lightheartedness, her appeal is to a set of people who take seriously their commitment to faith and freedom, right? Well, should this line garner laughs from such a crowd? This is from the NRA Saturday. Oh, but you can't offend Islamic terrorists, can't make them feel uncomfortable, not even a smidgen. Well, if I were in charge, they would know that waterboarding is how we baptize terrorists. And so this creep, this nasty creep, Rod Dreyer, he really lays into her about how that statement is basically blasphemous. She's comparing torture, praising torture as a putative Christian, comparing it to a holy sacrament of the Christian faith. Another guy. This is how, quote-unquote, our side treats, quote-unquote, our side, ladies and gentlemen. The piling on, the attacks. Everybody knows what she meant. Everybody knows it was a laugh line. And everybody knows what she meant. Except these two guys, apparently. And they're very, very offended, you see, by Sarah Palin. Very offended. She's the one who offends them. They're not offended by John Boehner. They're not offended by Mitch McConnell. They're not offended by Paul Ryan's push for amnesty. They're not offended by that. Well, maybe they are, but I doubt it. But Sarah Palin's easy pickings, so they pile on. Tough guy, huh? Brennan, tough guy? You too, Dreyer? It's a shame what Bill Buckley's work has turned into. It really is. Cheap shots on a website. That's what it's turned into. She's out there breaking her neck, trying to get conservatives elected, trying to keep the base strong and inspired, trying to get out the vote, and dismissed. You will never see the left or Democrats do that to a woman on their side. Ever. Ever. You'll never see them do it to a former vice presidential or presidential candidate either. Not a conservative. I don't know who these guys are. I mean, Dreyer is, his philosophy is very confusing, such as it is. Brennan, I never heard of the guy before. I'm sure he's very, very important. I'm sure he's done a hell of a lot. Any of you heard of him? Has he done anything for any candidates that you're aware of? How about Dreyer? Oh, crunchy conservatism. Isn't that the phrase? Dimwit? It's embarrassing. And the attacks on Cruz, the attacks on other conservatives, just pathetic. I expect it from the left. I expect it from phony conservatives at the Washington Post. But National Review, you guys really do need to get your act together. It's not about free speech, competing ideas, and all the rest. It's about vicious, cheap shots from nobodies.